It wasn't March. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It is exactly 5 o'clock. Thank you, commissioners. And I'd like to welcome everyone of you to their commission meeting. On item 2, invocation, can everyone stand, and we'll have Commissioner Duggins give the invocation, please.
Heavenly Father, we pray tonight that you watch over our community, over the sick and those who have lost, that you fill their empty voids in their heart with love and compassion. And we pray for those that are in jail, that they return to the community in a better way. We pray for the administrators, the county manager, the attorneys, the commissioners, all of the people, elected people, that they may follow your will. We also pray for peace and prosperity across the globe and into the violence and killing, and only you can solve this. And we just pray that tonight that we make the right decisions on our items on the agenda. Amen.
Amen. And if I may, gentlemen, we lost a resident of Socorro County, Mr. Jake Chavez. He retired from the DOT, and I knew him well. I worked with him for many years. He left this world pretty young. And also, my son's mother-in-law, a few months back, my son lost his daughter, and now he lost his mother-in-law 2 days ago. Dear Lord, give him and his family support during this hard time. Thank you. Salute to the flag, pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of Mexico, is the symbol of perfect friendship among united countries. Roll call, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Avila,
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Chair Secretarial, Commissioner Duggins,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Here.
and Chair Martinez.
Present, ma'am. Approval of agenda. Commissioners, have you had a chance to review the agenda? Any modifications or changes?
I just wonder that some of these people that may be on the agenda,
Come up front.
there, yeah. Is there public comment? Yeah, we got the hospital, and we have, I see the mayor magazine here.
Yeah, we should probably do those first, right?
Recognition in the hospital, and then public comment.
Okay, so move 10A
And 11A,
and 11A first, before we hear,
public comment.
and then approval of the minutes and all that. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Commissioner Gonzalez would like to move item 10A right after we approve the agenda, and item 11A, Socorro General Hospital Community Engagement, Scope of Service Presentation and Distribution of Meal Levy Funds. And then from there, then we'll go to public comment and then approval of minutes and keep on going down.
So then we're gonna move it
Right
right
after.
after the minutes,
No, we're,
agenda?
Right after the approval of agenda.
Okay.
motion by Commissioner Gonzalez to approve with those two changes. Second by Commissioner Aguilar. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The agenda is approved with those 2 modifications. Item 10A, recognition of Westy Trujillo. This was brought to the attention of the commission by Jessica Carranza, and I'm glad she did. We're very honored to have such a young lady do so well. I read the article and she's gonna go a long ways. You have something for her? Thank you.
At this time, what we'd like to do is, Westy, if you'll come up, and then you'll have an opportunity to say a few words to the commission.
Thank you for inviting me, and I would like to represent Socorro County well with my new title, Miss Rodeo New Mexico Princess.
Quédate. Well,
If I may ask, how old are you, young lady?
I'm 11 years old.
Oh, my goodness.
You're gonna go places. Thank you again.
thank you.
The commission is very proud of you. Okay, item 11A, Socorro General Hospital presentation.
Good evening, Commissioners, and I know this is some of your last meeting here with me, and so I appreciate your years of service on the commission. So we'll get started. So in your packet, every year I have to present, part of the Camille Levy contract is to present the scope of services. So as many of you heard this, Adrian for sure has heard this many of times. So we're a non-for-profit hospital. We're part of Presbyterian Healthcare Services. We're one of their second smallest hospital out of the 9. We have been Presbyterian Healthcare Services since 1976. We've been up at the place of residence since 1984. The new hospital was built in 1984. We're a 24-bed critical access hospital, and all it means is a critical access hospital, the closest hospital has to be greater than 35 miles from us, and we're like a safety net hospital, not a care hospital. We employ 192 employees. We hired 8 new graduates last year from Socorro County that grew up in Socorro County. So we're very proud of that. We only lost one of those to Albuquerque. So we'll get Caleb Romero back to Socorro, New Mexico eventually. So in 2023, we had almost 32,000 clinic visits. We delivered 107 babies. We had almost over 1,700 televisits and phone visits. The ER saw almost over 10,000 emergency room visits, almost 500 inpatient discharges. We performed 525 surgeries, and we performed 500 outpatient infusions. So we not only service our county, but we also, as you know, service Catron County as well. Hang on. All right, so as you know, we are a 24-hour emergency room. Our hospital doesn't have an ICU. So if you need an ICU or cardiac care ICU, we have to send you to Albuquerque. So our staff is really good at stabilizing, so we can get you up to those specialists if need be. We do in the emergency room now have telecardio, teleneurohealth, and telebehavioral health. So that just means we bring in a monitor, and you can talk to a psychologist, you can talk to a cardiologist if need be, and a neurologist, along with our ER physician. We now have urgent care. It's open from 1 to 5, Monday through Thursday. I have the phone number listed here if you require those services.
Can you give it to us, please?
Yeah, it should be. It's 838-4690. All right, and we also have a medical and a surgical unit where we take care of swing bed patients, inpatient hospice. We provide cardiac monitoring on that. What is really grown in our community is our outpatient infusion services. If you need some sort of therapy, IV therapy, or an injection or long-term antibiotics, we can do that there at the hospital. And we have a little room that we do outpatient services. So if you're at a provider in Albuquerque and they say, well, we need you to come up here for your infusion service, please ask that, see if we can provide that care for you so you're not having to go back and forth every day or every other week. We still deliver babies at the hospital. That's a good thing. Without us, as you know, from Las Cruces to Albuquerque is about 225 miles. From Ruidoso, our state line is about 400 miles. That would create an OB desert. So Presbyterian has continued to let us provide OB services in Socorro. We just hired Dr. Brian is a general surgeon. He comes out of Ohio. He has ties to New Mexico. He has a daughter that lives in Albuquerque. He's a very well-known surgeon in the United States. We're fortunate to get him. We also have Dr. Teddy Swidninsky that is also our general surgeon. So they kind of work opposite of each other. So that's a huge win for us in Socorro. We have the pharmacy. It provides support to the hospital and the clinic and home care. We also, our pharmacist tries to perform discharge phone calls after our patients get discharged from the inpatient unit. I heard an echo. We have respiratory services. Presently, we do home sleep studies, pulmonary function tests, event monitors, Holter monitors, EKG, blood gases, and the department is now open 24/7. Prior to this department took a lot of call, but now they're available for the support of the emergency room. So it's really nice to have them. So we are contracted with Rehab Visions, who they're a company out of Omaha, Nebraska, that provides us with physical therapists, a speech therapist, and occupational therapist. Those therapies are so hard to recruit to rural New Mexico. So that's why we went with a contracted company. They're very well known in our community because they've been with us for about 5 years, so we're pretty fortunate. The one thing that a lot of people don't know about is we have an audiologist. It's Dr. Jessie Batchelor. She is in the back of our rehab building. She has a booth back there, very well known, so you don't have to go get your hearing aids or hearing tests, I should say, done in Albuquerque. Radiology, that department pretty soon is going to come across the hospital and take my office. We're really growing in this area. A lot of outpatient, inpatient, ER, general radiology. We do CAT scans. We have the mobile MRI truck 3 days a week. We have ultrasound, general ultrasound 7 days a week. We have echocardiograms 7 days a week now. We do bone density, and in 2025, we will have screening, mammo services in Socorro in the hospital. We have the machine. We're just waiting for the IT piece to all come together. It seems to take forever. So I just listed out our ER physicians. As most of you know, these peeps all work in Santa Fe and Albuquerque, and for us, some of them work in Ruidoso. They were Dr. Betjeman. He's our hospitalist. He's our chief of staff, and he also works in the emergency room. So we're fortunate to have those positions. Family practice. This is some good news. I know one of the biggest complaints in the community, and I've I'm sure you've heard it as well, is we didn't have any openings and we weren't taking new patients. And so at the end of October, we opened it back up to new patients. We have now Dr. Sells, who's a new physician in our community. We have hired a physician assistant. Her name is Grace Hoffman. She's not even on this list yet. And we also have two offers out to another physician assistant and to another family practice doc. So that's huge news. It looked like the physician assistant was looking for housing in Socorro. So we were trying to assist with that. As you know, that would be challenging now as well. We talked about the surgeons already. Keep us going here. And the thing that's underused in our community is our women's health services. So we not only just deliver babies, but we also provide gynecological care as well. And that's not utilized. And we're pretty fortunate. The group of these providers too, I used to work downtown in Albuquerque, and I know a lot of these providers from my past. And so I tried to recruit them to come do some time in Socorro and still do some time in Albuquerque. We have Dr. Bowles, who's our podiatrist. Tana Hudson is well known in our community for behavioral health services. We now have the heart group is now coming 4 times a month, not twice, but 4 times a month. So every Tuesday, we have a cardiologist, either Dr. Woods or Dr. Goulet, come from Albuquerque to see our Socorro patients. We are full to the brim with those patients. So we probably, hopefully, we can add another day of service a month. I think that'll really help with the wait times and trying to get back up to Albuquerque. Let's see. We have home care and hospice. Our hospice program, it's a good thing. It's a support program. We're under new management. We have a new manager. Her name is Ann Costner, and she's doing very, very, very well in helping us grow our home care program. So let's see, what else do we got going? We have the firstborn program. We have what's called the SHIO program. It's a support services. We have a family in Socorro that donated to us for this physician to be. This young man does a lot of education, budget education, how to get at resources, how to get an apartment, how to build, try to take yourself out of debt. So his phone number is 835-8739. So, we continue our challenges, of course, as, is staffing, nurses, rad techs, and providers. That's always a challenge. My primary focus is retention. We want to keep the peeps we got, and we want to take really good care of them. So they want to come to work for us. So that's really important to me. And that's kind of the end of our presentation. I do have one more piece to talk to you about the community benefit. But do you have any questions? Kind of ran through that, but.
Commissioners?
No.
I just like that you try to get local youth to go to school and then you hire them. So not only help them get their education, but employ them. That is so important because it's hard to make it out there now. And I also want to personally thank you and your staff. When my granddaughter got sick, came down, they treated her real good here in Socorro. They flew her out and she was in intensive care for 12 days. Russ Hospital did an excellent job too. So thank you so much and tell your staff thank you.
You're welcome. So the good news is C&M has students at Socorro Hospital. 2 of those students are employed by us, and they graduate in May. There's another young man that comes from Belen, New Mexico. My staff are trying to recruit him. So I think we'll have 3 new grads in May. In December, we should have 3 more new grads from Socorro. So that's good things. Joe's daughter is gonna go, she's getting her prereqs, and our goal is to bring her back home for her to be a nurse in Socorro. So that's good news. The other thing I have to discuss with you is the community benefit. So we provide about $2.2 million plus in financial assistance. We get $1 million from the mill levy. So that takes us to about $1.2 million of a gap. And so the total Medicaid and Medicare loss is for the hospital is about $1.4 million. So it's a huge, huge loss. So without that mill levy, it would be $2.4 million. And without that mill levy, we probably wouldn't have our hospital in Socorro. So it's very, very well appreciated. And, we voted it in 2020. We got it through with COVID and all. I've never not walked the streets of Socorro to make that happen. But we did it, and I did it with you guys' help. So thank you.
Thank you.
One last thing. So because of you getting new county manager and me having some commitments of a daughter's wedding this summer and this fall, I hadn't been here to ask for the mill levy. So usually we do it at like twice a year. I'll ask you for funding. So this letter serves as a request of distribution of funds from our Socorro General Hospital mill levy for the second, the third, and the fourth quarter, for a grand total of $750,000. So I have to have you, as you all know, vote on that.
Make the motion to approve that. It's an action item later. Can we go ahead and do it now?
It's up to the chairman, but yes.
It's an action item on 12B, but she's asking for it not in her presentation, so.
Joe made the motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez to approve item 12B, second by Commissioner Evans. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is approved for $750,000, correct?
Thank you.
Thank you.
These guys can square it up for our fiscal year.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item is committee reports.
Minutes.
The minutes.
The minutes.
Number 7. We're on 7 now.
Okay, 7. Need a motion. Item 7, approval of minutes for November 12, 2024.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes of November 12, 2020.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez to approve, second by Commissioner Aguilar. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The approval of the minutes of November 12, 2024 are approved. Betty, thank you.
Of course, you're welcome.
Item 8, committee and department reports. Acknowledge written department reports. You guys have a chance to review the ones that were there? So, is there anyone here that want to talk? No? Tina?
Athena.
Commissioners, I actually forgot to check whether I even sent a report. It's been a little bit busy this week, or last week, so I do apologize. So if I didn't, I'd like to just quick do a review. So the review is that we have currently 29 active DWIs. We have 20 on warrant status. We have 47 probationers. We have 6 domestics. We have on pretrial DWIs 11, and then pretrial folks on pretrial 253. So in this last quarter, I've actually never done done this kind of report before, but we're doing an evaluation of our department. And in this last quarter, we actually serviced 800, in 3 months, 820 people received services in our office and at the detention center. So through our contractor for IOP, there was 132 individuals serviced through our IOP. AccuDetox, which is Ruby Mendez Harris, 215 sessions at the detention center, including staff. We do Seeking Safety with the women's program, so 25 women were serviced for that. We had 85 peer support sessions with individuals in the detention center. Jason, who does the peer support, also does Narcan training. He did 60 individuals for that. And then just general hours in community, which includes me, people knocking on my door, people that I see that come in that maybe have been past clients, and with Ruby as well. It's like 46 hours additionally of sort of off the clock type of services. So I just wanted to give you like a little bit of a breakdown of how much just the need in the community and how much we actually are doing. Additionally, we would like to thank the sheriff's department, because we have done some Magdalena Alamo outreach, and this past weekend, the sheriff and Cesar did some what we call wellness and house checks. So we appreciate our continued partnership with law enforcement, and I stand for any questions, and of course wish you all blessings for Thanksgiving.
I just have one question on that number of the 800. Those are individuals, right? I mean, we're separate cases that are not like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just the amount of people that have been touched over a 3-month period.
3 months.
So it was our first quarter, I guess you could say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions, Jim? Thank you. Sheriff, you were next.
I don't have a whole lot. We've been having a few accidents lately. We had one today that turned out pretty bad. I would just like to say that, I'd like to send it out there to the people that are traveling for the holidays. Be very conscious of the way they drive. We had a young man today that was in a hurry, tried to pass a vehicle and ended up hitting a small semi and messed himself up pretty bad. Luckily, nobody else was injured. But right now, during the holidays, we do see a lot of accidents because there's so many people on the interstates and on highways. Please just be very conscious. Don't be selfish and drive with other people in mind, not yourself. Yeah, that's about it for right now. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Yes. Any questions, Commissioner? Sheriff, please.
Yeah.
Hey, Commissioner Secretarial, first of all, thank you for everything you do, Sheriff. Happy holidays, everyone. I'm very sorry that I couldn't be there in person. I just wanted to, I know last board meeting, I made that comment or statement in regards to not having a Navajo police anymore. So I just got word yesterday that we will have 2 individuals rotating out in Alamo. I'm not sure starting when, but hopefully pretty soon. So I just wanted to let you know, sir.
Thank you. To add to that, I'm going to have a meeting with the commander of the Navajo Police coming up, I think on the 5th of December. They're creating a new district as part of the Navajo Nation, and that will encompass the Alamo area. So we're going to get together to see what we can do to help with the new people that are coming in. so that they're not left alone all the time. So we're gonna get together and figure it out here. So hopefully we figure something out. So see more.
If you could, shoot me a text or shoot me information in regards to that meeting.
Will do.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Any other questions?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Next item is manager's report. Verbal.
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. So we developed the new Puerto Seguro contract. We have that going. So we went and developed the new reporting sheets. That way we have everything now in place. And so December 1 will be their first reimbursement for the meals that they have been providing. So we've got that all operational now and up and running. And we developed the reports to make sure that those sign-ins for those individuals being serviced show that they're both sick and indigent. That way, if there are any questions, we'll be able to document it through the paper filing once they submit their reimbursements into us. The other big thing that we've been doing is with the new road director. He's been great getting out there, seeing all of the different roads, being able to get the firsthand experience. I know Commissioner Duggins, he was out in your district recently helping out with some of that. We just started on Monday with Riley Road, being able to start that. We had a couple of our individuals that were out sick. But they're back, so we're able to start with all of that out there on Riley Road. The next thing is been working on equipment inventory. That even though we're just now entering December, I've started all of the preparation for the next fiscal year budget, looking at all of our equipment, the replacing. One of the big things is going to be the computer upgrades that we're going to need to take place with some of the licensing requirements for our reporting software. So that's all, hopefully by January, February, we'll have the indication as to what kind of upgrades are going to be needed throughout the county, and we'll have that ready to go. The other thing then is we are finishing up with our on-site auditor. They started a little bit late this year, but we should have everything ready to roll by the time all of the deadlines come. There will be one or two little things that we're going to be working on with the treasurer's office to improve. And that's kind of going to be where the ding comes this year, is just because some of that reporting that's being generated out of the treasurer's office. But we now have the training in place. And so when the new treasurer comes on January 1, we have the training program with all the auditor's findings to make sure that those issues don't pop up again.
Any questions for the manager, commissioners? No.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
the Puerto Seguro, is that what you've come up with, like to reimburse meals? Is that all, or is that, how does that work?
Correct. So the contract that was approved by the commission pertains solely to meals. So it's going to be hot and ready meals as well as take and grab meals. So two different kinds of meals. And what it's going to amount to is they're capped at a certain amount every month as to what we're able to reimburse.
Do you have any type of forecast, like maybe what to expect on expenditures for for a year's time?
I don't have the contract in front of me, but based upon last year's figures is what we based the numbers on for this contract. So we're looking to be, for this fiscal year, it should be 100% financed as far as total number of meals per month, that they're going to reach their maximum amount that we're able to reimburse.
And what was that in dollars? More or less.
I'll have to get that figure for you. We want to say right now it's somewhere in the neighborhood of, I believe it's 300 total meals a month, 300 to 500 meals, something like that a month is what we're going to be able to reimburse.
And it's so much a plate or so much a meal?
Yes, it's $3 per hot plate and $2 per grab and go. Yeah, so $24,000 for this year is what they will be reaching. So with the meals that we're going to be reimbursing at that $3 and the $2, it comes out to right at about $2,000 a month. So the 24,000.
The building that they use, who owns that building?
New Mexico Tech.
I see.
Well, commissioners, I just want to thank you guys for supporting to be able to do this. People are in need, and girl that runs that and volunteers do a great job. Thank you for supporting. Item C, acknowledge commissioners' report. Commissioner Aguilar. Nothing at this time. Commissioner Gonzalez.
No, just that we lost. But the kids played hard, not for lack of effort, just the lack of experience, some mistakes. But we overachieved this year, and I'm happy for the kids. Hopefully, the young ones will come back. That's what's important.
Commissioner Evans.
Oh, I guess I would just, I think Vegas back there, anybody drove out in Palmadera area on the road I live on, you missed quite a show with the pumpkins. We had a pumpkin field that it just was orange. You could see it from the highway. And I'd like to, I guess, encourage people to get off the main road and go take a drive through the valley, north and south. You know, there's some beautiful farms out there that a lot of people don't realize. We're not a community where the main road, I-25, goes through the scenic part, and the disconnect between city people, non-farmers, and farmers and ranchers, it's just getting wider, and it's not a good thing. And I guess this will be the last time that I can wish all of you a good, happy, thankful Thanksgiving. And I guess we all know that, you know, all of our lives get rocks in it every now and then on roads, but there's always something to be thankful for. And it's my favorite, I guess, maybe because I'm a farmer, you know, the end of the year, harvest year, labor, and the Thanksgiving has always meant a great deal to me. And if you know of a neighbor, a friend, or somebody that is alone, you know, invite them in. That's all. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay. Next item is public comment. Do you have anyone public comment?
No.
Mayor, do you have anything? Mayor Maglia, public comment?
I'll address it when my turn.
When is your turn?
The law enforcement summit that you guys did. Do I get to speak on that?
No, you have to do it in public comment because you weren't on the
I
agenda.
can't hear you.
You have to do it in public comment. That's just for us.
I will do that.
Okay. Let me read this before you do that. During this portion of our meeting, we will welcome your suggestions and want to hear your concerns. This is not a question and answer period. Speakers will be limited to 5 minutes. The county commission is not able to take action on matters discussed during public comment. Speakers are requested to state their name for the record.
Commissioners, I'll try to make this brief. This whole thing of the law enforcement summit, your manager supposedly got people making comments about the lack of law enforcement. His error was not to tell them you need to contact the mayor, make an appointment with him. And the second thing was he should have told them I have absolutely no authority whatsoever to intervene in this. This has caused me a lot of stress. That meeting was just a casual meeting. Next thing, it's a summit. And the things that were discussed there, the only viable thing out of that is that we forget to notify the sheriff what our monthly schedule is. The mayor and the marshals would like to thank the sheriff for what he's done helping us and for the surrounding county. Everything in that document is not gonna happen. I'm sorry the manager came in with his own agenda. I do not condone disrespect, condescending attitude, or arrogance. And that's the way I was treated in my chambers in the Village of Magdalena. So you can scratch that item because the thing, nobody has authority to tell us where our marshals can go to train or when. The thing is, we only have two. The sheriff and the state police are notified when they're out. The other side of that, one of the guys is gone for training. The other marshal gets up, he's got the flu, he got hurt, so both marshals are gone. So it's not a valid thing. They have no authority to tell us what to do. Things were turned around and thrown back in my face, which I don't appreciate. We're continually recruited for Magdalena for the marshal. We have a candidate going to the academy in January after the psych exam. We got a gentleman coming in today who's a fully certified officer from another state. He's going up to the academy next week to get his credentials certified here. And as soon as we find a place for him to live, he's going to be coming in. So we're doing our job. We're doing our job. The marshals have worked well with the sheriff. We appreciate what he does for us and come up there. So you can basically scratch that item off your agenda. Because the other stuff in there, we've done our due diligence, we do our job, and I don't tolerate outside intervention into the operation of Magdalena. So I'm sorry it's come to this, but we have 5 or 6 people up there that continually spread misinformation. Other people buy into it. That's why they were calling your manager. The only people that have authority in Magdalena is the mayor and the trustees. If people have concerns, my door is always open for mayor. Anybody can come in if they have valid concerns, they come in and talk to me. And the people that have done that, it went away happy and shake my hand and thank me for my time because they finally have all the facts. We got people up there spreading these rumors. People don't even live in the village. They're making comments. They have no idea what the marshals are doing. So this is where I'm coming from. My marshals have 55 years experience combined. I have 52 years of management. I don't need anybody else coming in and telling us what to do. I'm sorry, I really, this really hurts me being here. I take my job as mayor very, very seriously. And I don't like disrespect or anything else. There's too much of that in Magdalena right now. I don't know how to put a stop to it. I try to address their concerns. Some of this stuff is totally off the wall, guys. Totally off the wall. I had somebody get in my face demanding to know what the marshals are going to do about all the break-ins. I'm going like, what break-ins? There's no reported break-ins on marshal, the sheriff, or the state police for about a year. It turns out they overheard somebody talking about something that happened a year and a half ago. But it happened that month in Magdalena. So this is stuff I'm trying to counter all the time. I don't know. I don't know how to stop it. Why do people think it's necessary to do that? And the real sad thing, we got social media.
Hi.
Somebody doesn't believe it, this goes, I'm almost done.
Hi.
This goes out all over the state.
Mayor,
So it's a derogatory point. So I'm done. You can take that off the agenda.
Mayor, I can't make a comment on what you just said,
Okay.
but on item D, I will make my comments. I'm not
You
taking it up.
can make your comments. I don't care. We're doing our due diligence. We are.
Mayor, make my comment tonight.
Thank you.
Anybody else have public comment? Okay. Item 11B, update on courthouse, San Antonio Park, and Escondida Lake project.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
I'm here to give you guys an update on the courthouse, Escondido Lake and San Antonio Park. The Socorro County Courthouse project is on schedule and it looks real good. So far, the south side, east side, and north side have been restuccoed. We have replaced 53 windows. 8 windows have been restored. The front doors of the courthouse have been restored and the east side doors have been replaced. The equipment for modernization of the elevator should be arriving now in December. I'm gonna say middle of December, we should start the work on the elevator there. The new windows have made a big difference in reducing the sound level in the courthouse. And also now the courthouse is a lot more comfortable than there. No more drafts through the windows and stuff like that. We should be seeing a pretty good savings on our utilities now with the new windows. Do you guys have any questions on the courthouse project?
What percentage are we to completion?
Right now with the first phase, we're probably about 85–90% complete on first phase. Escondido Lake, right now we are in the planning and assessment phase of the project. I have met with Wilson and Company and for electrical, reviewed the electrical upgrades that will be needed to support the new sites out there. I have also met with Wilson and Company to do an assessment on the existing utilities such as the water and the sewer. All utilities out there are gonna need to be brought up to code, so we're gonna have to redo all the utilities out there at the lake. We'll be meeting with Site Southwest and Wilson and Company on December 5th to discuss their first phase proposal. You guys have any questions on the lake project?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
you said something, all utilities, something about bringing them up to code?
Yeah, we're gonna have to redo all utilities out there as far as electrical, sewer, and water.
You don't provide drinking water there, do you? Or
We do to the RV spots.
for drinking?
Yeah, so we do have the well tested monthly and stuff like that.
Is it the same well that runs the sprinkler system?
No, two different ones. Yeah, one system does the sprinklers and the other system does RV parks.
You just need a lot more water.
A lot more water.
It's pitiful.
What'll help too is once we get the spots, we'll be reducing the grass out there too, so we'll have a little bit more pressure in the sprinkler systems.
More trees, less grass.
Hopefully a lot less grass. San Antonio Park, out there, we've installed a 30x30 shade structure with 4 picnic tables and a barbecue grill. We also installed a sidewalk from the parking lot to the shade structure. There is a new sprinkler system out there and that's on a timer. We installed a chain link fence around the park and we have planted 30 pine trees along the fence line. And that's complete as with the funds that we've had. So right now, I have talked to county manager about getting grass, so that's something we'll be looking to do in the future. Any questions on San Antonio?
I just wonder what type of pine?
They're the cypress.
Cypress.
Yep.
Arizona cypress.
Yeah, they've been taking real good with the. Go ahead.
Just, I was telling you what to do, but there's a tree called bald cypress. If you've ever seen in Louisiana where they fish these big logs out of the swamps, it's a hardwood something. I have some. They're easy to grow. They grow where there's a lot of water, like around Escondido Lake. But the bugs and the diseases that we have around here, like through the cottonwoods and stuff, they don't go to those.
Yeah, the cottonwoods are bad at the lake.
They're not worth planting, you know. Fast life, fast growth, short life. But bald cypress, they're a very good tree. They're beautiful. The what?
Well, I'll look into it. That'll be something good to look at. Any other questions? Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just finished San Antonio Park.
Okay, it looks good out there.
Attaboy. Item C, New Mexico County's insurance rate increase for liability and workers' compensation. Manager.
Yes, thank you, Chairman, members of the commission. What we're looking at right now is a true issue. Our insurance company operates on a January to December timeframe. Our budget operates on a July to June timeframe. So all of these increases come mid-budget. We don't get to have a say into what they are. Right now, I've been engaged in discussions with them trying to find the actual actuarial numbers to figure out why we're being increased, how it's being increased, and how we might be able to alleviate that in the future. It's pulling teeth right now trying to get those numbers. I'm going to continue working on it to do it. As we sit right now, we're looking at a $285,149 hit. That's going to have to come out mid-budget that was not budgeted for. So almost $300,000. Now, what makes this really, really hard to swallow is when we look at the numbers that I have been provided so far, Socorro County is going to see a 41% increase in our numbers. When you go and you look at Curry County is being reduced by 7.5%. So we're being told that all of the counties are having to pick up the cost because of the insurance costs. But when we actually start looking at the numbers, it's not true. And so that's what I'm trying to figure out is why, for instance, Socorro, just be glad we're not in Catron County. They're experiencing a 270.5% increase. But others around us are not seeing it at all. For instance, Harding County, they're being reduced 49.2%. So that's one of the things in the next couple of weeks I'm going to be working on is how to crunch the numbers, how to figure this out. But as of right now, unfortunately, they have us. We don't have any other insurance carriers at this point. There's nowhere else for us to go. So we're going to have to fork over the money. But hopefully here in the next couple of years, we'll be able to start getting the actuarial numbers so that we can start planning and try to do risk assessment and reduce our exposure over the next coming year so that hopefully we can end up like some of these other counties and see a reduction in our costs. But as of right now, if anybody were to ask me, why do we have these increases or how do we reduce them? I don't know because I haven't actually seen the figures yet to be able to figure it out.
You don't mind, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add a couple things to that. One, for years, we have been requesting New Mexico counties to place themselves on the same budget cycle as all of their clients, which are New Mexico counties. I mean, it doesn't make any sense that they're on a calendar year and we're on a fiscal year. I mean, we are their only clients, the counties. Why don't they switch that? I mean, it's fallen on deaf ears and it's pretty frustrating. Because a mid-year budget surprise is, it's just not cool. The other thing, and Andy has been working, trying to, like you say, put rope with these guys, trying to get the actuary numbers. But I will say what I've heard, at least part of my understanding is, and until we get the numbers, I can't confirm this, but what they're actually doing that's kind of showing that would show what we're doing is they're basing it, for instance, the law enforcement on the number of officers that you have. So if we increase our officers to the number that we need, which we have done recently to cover the county, which should be something that we're actually reducing liability with because we actually have enough officers to protect the county, they're increasing us. So these counties that are losing numbers, they don't have enough officers to protect the county. So that is counterintuitive as well. That needs to be confirmed, but I do believe that's kind of what they're basing it on, a simple formula of, we're going to bill you X numbers per deputy you have, which doesn't make sense.
Is Curry County Clovis though, or? No, it's Clovis.
Curry County is, yes.
Clovis.
Or is it Portales?
Clovis.
Clovis, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
the more exposure, that's what they're doing, is the ones that don't have exposure, they're reducing them. And the ones that have more exposure, in other words.
Yeah, so if we just get rid of all of the people that protect us, then we won't have the exposure. It makes no sense.
Well, then, are we talking about, I don't know, in the jail officers or sheriff's officers or both? Would sound like it might be better to fix that and spend the money over there, huh? On the sheriff's side.
We are, that's why and then we get increased.
Huh?
The more officers we get, the more they're increasing.
Yeah, so for us right now, we're taking a huge hit because for the first time ever, Socorro County was fully staffed in the sheriff's department. So what they did is they came up with a number to charge per sheriff's deputy. So each time we add a deputy, our insurance rates go up even higher based upon that number.
I thought it was the other way. No, it's there's more exposure.
The insurance company has the majority of the counties in New Mexico.
That's correct. I mean, it is, as far as the insurance company goes.
That's it.
It's kind of confusing, but basically all of the counties got together and created the county insurance authority. That's NMCIA. NMCIA hires the company that's running it, which is New Mexico Counties. So New Mexico Counties is a for-profit entity, New Mexico, that is hired by all 33 counties getting together. So basically, as far as the counties in the pool, I think there are 30 of us, 30 out of the 33, 30 of us that are in the pool. So we are their exclusive client, and we should have a little bit more say on this.
Right. So, Mr. Chairman, Attorney Nance, is this directly related or somewhat related to whatever the law was, the bill the governor signed a couple years ago where individual law enforcement can be sued?
Absolutely, to House Bill 4, that is. So that certainly, I'm sure, plays into their calculation, rightfully so. We've increased liability based on that. Yeah.
So I've asked before, maybe, I'm headed out the door, but I still think it would be valuable to show on a graph somehow the lawmakers come January what passing that law has cost us, what it has cost in vacancies in recruiting officers, and the money now that it's costing the county, right?
Absolutely.
And there has to be a way to show on paper because it just means more on paper, right?
True. And I know our legislative delegation cares. I don't think that the majority of them, which are from Albuquerque and Santa Fe, care. But we should still show them, absolutely, because it is impacting every taxpayer in the state.
Right. Well, and their safety, right? I mean.
Manager, have you had a conversation with Grace Phillips about this?
Yes. So there was a webinar that took place last Wednesday at 3:00. So both myself and Sammy, we attended that. And then at the budget conference last week, we were actually able to pull aside some of the individuals of New Mexico counties to continue that discussion, as well as all this week, we've been engaged in email communications so that we can start to look at the actual numbers, which is why I was able to come to you with those percentage differences, that those just came through earlier today. And so those numbers are just hot off the press. But it's one of those things that we will continue to have these discussions because we're going to have to figure out something to try to offset these types of hits in the future.
Next question. Do we have someone in the commission that's a representative? They have an insurance authority board?
They do. Currently, incoming commissioner Danny Monette sits on it. He is going to be vacating his seat, though, when he leaves Valencia County. So they will be looking to fill his. Unfortunately, none of us are going to be able to fill it because Valencia County is a larger county. So the only one that can fill that seat that he's vacating is going to be somebody from a large county. Now, I want to say in 2 more years, the other seats that we would be able to fill are going to be coming up for election. So it'll be at that time that I would recommend to this board that we try to get a representative from Socorro County to be able to sit on the NIMSIA board.
Good. And that'll help, by Danny coming in, he has experience and he can help you figure all this out. Part of it too is our detention center is not certified, so that also costs us money, more.
That's correct. There's a little bit of a modifier that goes into play with those detention centers that do not have the certification.
That said, I believe there are only Valencia County and maybe one other detention center that are certified, because remember, it's a self-certification by the insurance company. So it's not like we're not certified with the state. That, you know, we have all of our other certifications we need. It's whether the insurance company recognizes them.
Right.
The minute you recognize it, the rate goes down.
Yeah.
Well,
The fox is watching the chicken coop.
thank you for that. Anything else, commissioners, you want to ask the manager?
But right now it's 380, right?
Right now, the number is 285,149.
Okay, we come to item 11D, Magdalena Law Enforcement Summit. I wish the mayor would have stayed for this. He wanted to scratch it. But we met with them on November 5th in Magdalena. And that meeting, so everybody knows, I requested that meeting in a commission meeting that we needed to meet, not to point fingers, to be able to help the Magdalena law enforcement respond to emergency. We had an individual, he has an officer that was sick, had different things with two officers that were only certified. I could understand that they could not respond. And the mayor is right. We're not telling him what to do. Reason we had the meeting was to try to help them in whatever they needed. When we went to the meeting, right away, their attorney asked me to leave the meeting. He said I couldn't stay there, and I told him, I'm a citizen and I'm a commissioner, and I requested this meeting. So you better check first. I said, we need to discuss this and go over it. He changed his attitude after that. But I want to make this clear to everyone that's still live and to the paper. Our manager was polite in there. He never told the mayor anything. And the reason that I requested everybody there, the mayor, their two officers, the mayor asked their attorney to be there, our manager was there, and I was there. Because like the mayor said, people are talking about this and that. He said, she said, and the officers this and that. And everybody in the same room, like I told the mayor, if we have to say we're all adults, let's say what we gotta say. But let's come up with a plan that'll help the community better coverage. We discussed it, we came up with a list, and I asked everyone that was there, who's taking the minutes, who's writing this down, and their attorney said, I am. I will prepare it, and I'll send it to all you guys so you can review it. At no time, the mayor never said nothing that I remember. I was there. The sheriff was there. He never objected to anything that was brought up or nobody else. We came up with a list of items all together on what we felt could help them. When we left the meeting, I thought everybody was happy. And then all of a sudden, this is what comes out. He says they're not going to follow it. I can't tell him what to do. I can't tell the village what to do. But we offered our help. The help is there if they request it or need it. I'm glad that they hired another person, but I don't know. I don't know what else we can do. But in no time were they treated or told that they weren't doing their job. We were there for one reason, to help assist in the need. Sheriff, you were there. Do you have any comments? Can you say something? And then I want the manager. Did I state it correctly, what I said?
Chairman Martinez, commissioners, no, absolutely. Like you said, it started off a little tense, but not from us. And once we actually started to get to talking, everything really calmed down. I know the county manager had a lot of good points. And there was never anything that he said, you guys need to do this. You guys, no one at that never happened. I think mostly it was, hey, we need to figure out, all right, you guys have 2 people. How are we going to get more people out here? It's difficult when you have 2 deputies on and you have a whole consolidated community that needs 24-hour or at least pretty close patrol and law enforcement assistance. It's hard to get 1 deputy out of 2 and then have another deputy out of doing the whole other county, the rest of the county, you know. So we were trying to figure out ways that we could bring people in off duty and work overtime and do stuff like that to help out the community. And those were just suggestions that the county manager and the commissioner were talking about. And everybody was polite and everybody was, we're trying to be productive. And when I walked out of that meeting, I was happy. I was happy with the outcome. It was even better than I thought. You know, we did come up with stuff, and even the county, the Magdalena attorney, he was heated when he got in there, but he seemed really happy with the outcome after that as well. And he was team county there at the end. You guys are right, we're perfect. You know, that's great. It's not too much to ask for. And so I don't see where there was any disrespect, because none of us there went up with any ideas of disrespect. And I think that we all left shaking hands and it was good. And I'm sorry that he sees it that way, because that was never any of our intentions, especially when we were talking about it.
Thank you. And Chairman, what I've done at this time is the document that was constructed by the village's attorney that went through my office for some rewording here and there has just been shared with everybody because it is a public document. And so this was the document that anybody that would send in an Inspection of Public Records Act could see all of the email exchanges between my office and the Village of Magdalena's attorney, in which we worked out the formatting of that letter. And so that letter then contains everything that was discussed at that meeting, the tenor of the meeting, exactly how everybody got along, to where it's one of those that if the Village of Magdalena citizens could see exactly, this is the discussions, these are some of the topics, how we would be able to work together, how we could overcome them, and see that it was positive. It was going to be a really good thing. That it's unfortunate that the mayor doesn't want to implement any of these ideas and concepts that were jointly recommended by everybody in that room. Because if we would work jointly together to do this, we could really start overcoming some of those deficiencies in the village. So, like I said, this is a public document. It's something that is shared, and it came directly from the village's attorney.
I'm not mistaken, we all agreed that we would meet again January the 6th, correct?
That is correct.
So, it's, nobody said nothing to see how these items that are on this paper, how were they working, if it was working out or whatever. I hope we meet again. I even made the comment to the group that we needed to have that meeting also with Alamo representatives, since they didn't have any. They got 2 now, I guess.
Yeah.
But I told Vice Chair Secretarial, since he knows what's going on, you guys need to meet to try to help, because There's an issue all over, the drugs, everything. And I'll say this again, we did not tell the village what to do. We offered assistance. And I'll say that twice. We offered assistance. We're not telling them what to do. We don't have the authority to do that. They can, it's up to them. I did in this paper, I told them that I was gonna bring it to the commission meeting because I wanted to let the Socorro County people know, because we discussed it in the commission, what came out of that meeting. The people have a right to know of what you're talking about, what decisions you made. I even told the mayor, I'm not telling you what to do, but that's up to you if you want to share this with your community. I think it's worth it because that way people know what's going on in our community. And people do go to meetings and they ask questions, and they have a right to ask questions. We're public servants, we're responsible to do stuff. And if we're doing it, there's no problem in answering the questions, I feel. I hope this doesn't go sour. The offer's there. I think we can help them. I live in that community, and so I'm still going to continue following up even after I leave as a commissioner, because I live there. I see people talk to me. We'll do what we can.
Yeah, I agree with you. And after talking with the county manager, we're never going to stop trying to get them help. We're never going to stop trying to just help our community members in Magdalena, and if there is a small disagreement, well, we can get over it because it's not about us personally, it's about the people. And that's what we're trying to show. We set the tone early in that meeting, being that this is what we're hearing and this is what we want to do to help people together.
Mr. Chairman, I wasn't, if I may, I wasn't at the meeting, but like listening to both sides, I don't know, I think you could use this, you just touched on it, as the next meeting as a bit of a healing moment. You know how his feelings are, you know how ours are. He probably felt like the mother hen was in his office telling him, I would think maybe if I was in his position, it might have been overwhelming to him. But what I found also, I disagreed kind of the way he is, the way he said, I suppose he runs his office the way he wants to. I guess so. But we also have a responsibility as the Socorro County Commission as to the well-being of all citizens of the county. And sheriff has jurisdiction throughout the county, wherever it may be, right? I mean,
yes, sir.
So I just think that this will blow over and calmer heads will prevail, and he probably just felt a little threatened, probably never had faced anything like this,
I have complimented him in many meetings. He's done a lot for Magdalena, and I appreciate everything he's done. It's just that
well, it's stunning to think that I think this came out of, there was a store in Magdalena that was being held by gunpoint or something, a rob, and nobody, it was 45 minutes, there was no response until your office responded from down here. I mean, that's stunning to me when you call 911 and nobody's coming.
It was, we had been getting complaints before that, but that's kind of what really brought up the issue. It was a robbery that occurred at the Dollar General, and that's when really we started getting more.
well, I think we'll work it out. I know the mayor, like I said, he's done a good job in a lot of stuff. He volunteers a lot of stuff, and the main purpose of the meeting was to offer help. It was offered, so it's in his hands.
Clearly offered.
Yes, yes. And thank you for going to the meeting, and we'll see January 6th if we have that meeting.
Sure.
Yeah, just if I may, in closing, one of the great things about working in Socorro County is going to be the ability of bringing so many different people together to try to figure out how to solve problems. And that's one of the things that I think was the intent of January 6th, was to see how this was implemented, to see if there was something else that could be looked at, to kind of see how everything was going. But it was always with the intent and the purpose of us working together. And most importantly, it was about coming back to the people and being able to present to them, this is what happened at the meeting. These are the suggestions. And then being able to hear back from them if they had any other input or anything else. But I think with the team that we had representing the county, it was always about openness, transparency, and honest communication.
Right, right. I won't be a commissioner January 6th, but see if they can go to the meeting. Maybe
It's a public meeting, right?
No,
No?
isn't better.
So at this point, like, the chair said, it's in their hands, right? You know, and like the mayor says, we can't tell them what to do. We can offer assistance and help them accomplish what they need. But if you need the help, I hate to use the word, you'll love it. That's the liability falls on the village of Magdalena, not Socorro County.
Right.
I don't know.
And
Good attorney.
And this is what we offer. So
Yeah,
with everybody in agreement. So
That's the first thing I saw there. It says suggestions. It doesn't say shall or whatever. You know. That's just the nature of the beast, you know.
Yeah, he's got his feelings hurt. Here we are.
Doing the best of what he had in the circumstances at that time. His officers weren't available, and that thing happened. And it's just Chicken Little reversed, you know, basically.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Next item is the MRG-CD rate increase.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This issue was actually brought forward by Commissioner Duggins. And before I let him speak, I just want to give you kind of a brief history as to kind of what's happening. That with all of the conservancy districts, the MRG-CD is the only conservancy district that is allowed to raise rates at any time without actually having to go to a vote of those impacted by the rate increase. So what we have happening is over the last decade or so, these rate increases have been draconian and just absolutely huge. And it's taking a devastating blow to our economy with all of our farmers along the Middle Rio Grande Valley. So one of the ideas and concepts is bringing in front of you all as the board is to figure out a way in which the voices of the farmers can be heard and to be able to say that these rate increases need to stop, to where we either need to propose legislation that brings the MRG-CD in line with all the other conservancy districts and treats them the same, and that they cannot just do these rate increases as they want. The other idea and suggestion is drafting some type of resolution that says, listen, all of these rate increases are supposed to go towards providing water to the farmers and maintaining the ditches. The majority of this money is staying in Albuquerque and does nothing for the farming community. Part of the other one then is just potentially a resolution that says Socorro County supports the farmers and we're against these types of rate increases. So those are just some of the ideas and suggestions, but I'll turn it over to Commissioner Duggins because he can speak to this matter way better than I ever could.
I don't know about that. Mr. Chairman, commissioners, so I don't know, probably Adrian's pretty well educated with the doings of MRG-CD as well, but probably 8 years ago, something like that, we all paid Betty $25 an acre, you know, for the water belongs to the man that's putting it to beneficial use, not to them. They think it's theirs, but they're the delivery mechanism. For probably the 25 years, it was $25 an acre. Then comes the administration saying, we're paying 51 now. And the last meeting, they introduced for discussion, which will come to a vote soon. I believe it was 2 raises at $6 a piece, so another 12. And all I can tell you is that doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. And commodities are getting cheaper. We're losing our farmers. They're dying, and when they're dying, it's over. There's nobody there to get it, and you farming 200-300 acres, it adds up. That's another $50 an acre, 5,000 per 100. And I just feel like, for those of you that don't know, I am a board member there as well. They claim there's other farmers there, but really the vote many times comes to 6-1. They'll pass it. Will they care? Socorro County resolution or something? Probably not. And they probably come down here and kind of black my eyes. That's all right. But there's nobody holding these people in. And on the ad valorem, so the ad valorem is a fee, would you say, Adrian, under, like if you build a home in the valley, the county assessor or the treasurer will collect the county tax. A percentage under that is collected on behalf of MRGCD, just like the hospital levy or whatever, school bond. And then that is passed to the MRGCD. That's where most of the money of MRGCD comes from, the ad valorem. They can only raise that every 5 years. And it would kind of be nice to maybe have something like that every 5 years. That office, I can tell you, is growing leaps and bounds. And it's not on the farmer side. To be fair, they have some big projects going. Revamping our system is ancient, and they started in San Acacia. They're doing some cement lining, and it's coming up. But they're doing that with grant money. There's $50 million of grant money and a $25 million budget is what they're working with. But rough numbers to the paper lady, but it might be 48, but 50. And I can hardly stand it when they start talking about the ad valorem, the houses that the county collects. Of course, where does that come? The most of it, Albuquerque. So they say that's like 80% of our $25 million budget. I'm sure it is. But they want more say because they pay more. And we don't work like that in this country. We shouldn't, because you pay more tax, you have more say. And if that was the case, the farmers, I guarantee, are writing a bigger check to them. Why don't they have a more say? We have a bad problem that we just don't have enough representation, and the city is just chewing us up. You have to understand that there are a lot of people, and they come to the meetings up there. They want to end farming, that the Rio Grande cannot support it, that we're pumping the aquifer dry. They're so misinformed that the Sierra Club's hell running our show up there, but the farmers pumping irrigation wells, there's some, but very little. And the farmers are the only thing keeping the aquifer alive, because when we flood irrigate, the crops don't use all that water. It goes back down to the aquifer. You go over here to Eastwood Estates at, 3 feet to the water? They don't know what they're talking about. But I guarantee there is a good many of people that think farmers are just earth-killing machines. It's hard to believe, but they say themselves it won't be long before the MRGCD will be telling the farmers when to irrigate, and you talk about a disaster. So I don't know what can be done. I'm telling you, and I would tell them the same, and I have. They're the most arrogant bunch of people I've ever seen in my life. And will something from Socorro County change their mind? Well, probably not, but maybe we could do something that the legislature could at least look into it, or something. To not do anything would be a mistake. I think they need to understand that we're watching, that we're somebody. Adrian, you deal with them all the time. I blacked their eyes pretty good, but I think I told it the way it is.
Absolutely you did, Commissioner, and I'm more than happy to prepare a resolution for this board to consider if it's something you'd like me to do at the next meeting. And hopefully we could get some attention, especially from our legislative delegation, on this really important matter, because it is just squeezing our farmers to death.
I would say this, my first 4-year term when I left, I'll tell you what, I left in tears because I loved the place. I did. They have changed so much. It's just not recognizable. They argue with the different other government entities like the counties, Valencia counties, wherever they go, they just think they're God Almighty. And I guess that's, so Adrian, I mean, I don't know.
Chairman, my recommendation, what I can see happening is, if you don't mind, Adrian and I can get together on this over the next week or so. We'll put our minds together and see if we can't come up with some type of resolution that will help our elected delegation around us to better understand the situation and kind of understand our plight, while at the same time taking a position in front of the MRGCD on behalf of the Socorro County farmers. And I think that'd probably be the best thing. Is I think we'd come back December 10th with a proposal based upon hearing the concerns of the farmers.
Senator Sanchez is well versed in this. Maybe he would be somebody that could be contacted. I don't know, but it's disturbing how they're operating now.
Is that the wish of the commission to do that, to give the attorney?
Yeah, you make a motion, I'll second that motion.
Okay.
So did I make the motion? Who made the motion?
you did.
I think I did.
I take that as a motion, I'm second.
Motion by Commissioner Kevin, second by Commissioner Gonzalez, to direct the manager and the attorney to write something up, present to the MRGCD. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none? You have direction, Manager. Item 12. A, consideration of resolution 2024-59 vehicle accident prevention policy.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, we actually just revised this policy a couple months ago to increase the distance for sheriff's deputies to live and have take-home vehicles. That said, this policy is a revision with a few minor changes required by our insurance company. So I suggest that I would advise adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez, second by Commissioner Aguilar. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, resolution 2024-59 vehicle accident prevention policy is approved. Item C, direction to staff for grant to the city of Socorro for EMT services.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This language here is going to be in relation to, for some time, the city of Socorro has been providing EMS services to all of the county. They have come to the county requesting assistance with paying for 2 positions, so they continue that. We've been able to look and secure funding that we would be able to pay for those 2 positions. But what I need authority to do is to actually get into negotiations with the city of Socorro to come up with agreed upon language that I can then come back to you and present to you. So basically all this is doing is seeking the same authority that you gave to me when I was negotiating with BLM. That's all this is doing, is I'm coming to you to seek permission to negotiate with the city of Socorro to come up with language that we can then bring to you for approval.
Need a motion?
So, second.
Motion by Commissioner Aguilar, second by Commissioner Gonzalez. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You have direction, manager. Item D, consider resolution 2024-60, one-time addition to employee payroll.
Yes, thank you. This is the one time a year that I actually get to play Santa Claus. And so this is what I'm coming to you all, is to seek approval of the one-time pay increase for those employees who are going to be employed by the County of Socorro for the time period in the resolution.
I make the motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez to approve. So need a second.
Only if he wears the suit.
Is it a
Christmas bonus?
one-time pay Christmas bonus?
Yeah, just
What is it?
$250.
Wasn't it 5 last year?
And second by Commissioner Aguilar. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, resolution 2024-60, one-time addition to employee payroll for $250 Christmas bonus is approved. Item E, consideration of resolution 2024-61, elected official salary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is that item that we've been discussing for the last several meetings. I attempted to find middle common ground with those elected officials. They stayed on the position it was all or nothing. What I am proposing to you is based upon the increases in the insurance, past history, kind of where we are, that the recommendation is to eventually get them to where they want to be, but not all in one jump. Rather, we're going to do this staggered to where it's going to be over the next 2 years that we're going to be able to get them up to that top salary that they want. One of the biggest things, and the way that this resolution is being drafted and the language in it, is because we had several positions that for whatever reason fell way below the threshold of everybody else. So for instance, if you have the treasurers, the assessors, the sheriff, as well as the clerk's office, in order to get them up to the maximum of where they are, it was going to be a 20% increase. However, we had other positions that fell well below that threshold. For instance, it was going to take 47% to bring up our probate judge up to that threshold with everybody else. So the language that's being proposed to you is that we bring everybody up to a percentage of the max this year. And then in 2 more years, the remainder of it kicks in, and that everybody will then be brought up to the max itself. So what we would be looking at then is by 2027, all elected officials in Socorro County would be up to the maximum threshold of the new amounts. And I think that staggering of the implementation is something that we can do in the budget, but at the same time helps everybody else with salaries over the next couple of years as we negotiate with the employees to be able to bring them up to where they need to be. So that's why that recommendation is there. It is not, my recommendation is not agreed upon by the elected officials, because like I said, they wanted the entirety of it in one fell swoop.
Did you guys see the packet for what he's talking about, Commissioner?
I did.
Okay. Okay, what are the wishes of the commission? You heard the recommendation of manager.
I make a motion that we do it 100 and 100. In other words, on the language where it says 90%, change that to 100, just based on discussions of. My understanding is by statute, an elected official can't get a raise in midterm. So it wouldn't be 2 years, it would be 4 years. So that's what I.
That was my understanding too, that we couldn't do that under state law.
Because I had asked if we could do half and half, and that's when that discussion came up, that the only time an elected official can get a raise is when they're coming into office, not in midterm.
That's correct.
That's correct.
I just want to,
And I
just want to, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, let me just
Go
throw
ahead.
out a little, because there's been a lot of changes here that doesn't affect the budgetary analysis, but just the progression of Socorro County and the state law. Previously, prior to last year, Socorro County was classified as a Class B intermediate county, which meant that our total valuation by the county assessor was under $300 million. That set us at that time, the law says as a Class B intermediate, your maximum salary is X, and that was outlined in our last resolution. The commission in 2022 was the last time they had changed it. Again, our valuation changed in 2023. I'd like to give thanks to the assessor's office. We should be over $300 million, and we finally are. So that then placed us, as of 2023, as a Class B high, which then gave the maximum amount that is set forth in the body, in the whereas portion of the resolution, that's the maximum amount that the Board of County Commissioners can pay. So we really went from a jump in the maximum amount from the 2022 resolution to 2024. It increased our maximum substantially to a county more like Valencia, where we're a high county. That said, on November 5th, 2024, this year, the voters approved Senate Joint Resolution 16, which amended the Constitution, which said there are no more caps, basically, that the county commission gets to set the caps. Now that said, that again, that doesn't increase budget. This is based on the caps of the Class B the Class B high counties that were in effect as of last month, which are no longer in effect today. The county commission can set it whatever they want at this point, as long as it's proportional. You can't say that there still is law in effect that basically you can't say, well, we're going to pay the county clerk $50,000 and we're going to pay the county treasurer $10,000. I mean, they still have to be proportional. But that's just a history of the massive changes that have happened to this county since July 1st. So there's been quite a few changes in the law.
Any other questions?
So just for Commissioner Gonzalez, so to put this in perspective, even if we were to do 100% right now, only half of you would see that in 2 more years than the other ones would see it. So there would be nothing that we could do right now to where everybody would be able to see it.
Right, no, it would be, in other words, 100, we're gonna increase the elected official salaries to the maximum across the board when they're by state statute, they're allowed to receive it.
To the old maximum.
To the old maximum, yeah.
If that's right.
Which is the 75 and 60, I don't remember
The 75,
Yeah.
733 for the 3 officials.
Yeah,
78 for the
we understand.
sheriff. Yes, sir.
The incoming new officials will be at the maximum rate, and the maximum rate could change between now and the next time there's an election cycle, or it could stay the same. And I just, you know, going forward, I think we brought up all the employees along the line as best we could, and the elected officials, some got a benefit of the change and some didn't. They fell even further behind, and I don't see why they should be staying behind. And fiscally, I think, you know, maybe that's what we're just, I mean, I know we have lots of debts coming up and stuff, but I think we're gonna be okay. That's what, I think we gotta take care of those employees first, even though they're just elected officials, but they're still our employees, so it's quite.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I guess I'll have to be the rain cloud, but still though, we live in a community that is littered with poverty. And these elected officials, you're there to serve. It's not there to make money. It's a service. I gave up quite a bit to be here, and when I drive around and look at the poverty, and I say it, and I've said it before, when government is living higher than the people you're serving, I have a problem with that. And we're far beyond that. We just have poverty everywhere. We have debts, we have bills that are coming due. We're living on the interest on the money in the Santa Fe ride. And when interest goes down, and it's gonna come down, what will you do then? I'm gone. I mean, it looks like a train wreck to me, because it's gonna come down. How much money right now does the county make a month on interest? Roughly.
I couldn't answer that without looking at the figures, but what we're bringing in as far as the interest right now does not cover the bills that I brought forward to you today. So right now, if we were to implement all of the dollars across the board as was presented to you, we would actually be looking at deficit spending.
And then do you know roughly the rate of interest that we're being paid on that money? Is it 6% or 5%? What?
We're actually getting a good rate of return right now. We're at 7.2.
And when that 7.2 turns to 3, your red ink's gonna even be brighter, isn't it? I mean, again, I'm leaving, but it looks like a wreck coming. And if I could wave a wand and wish everybody wealth, God knows I would do it. I fought for business, for the community, and I poured out of my own pocket to help people continue. I mean, we all have, but we're in a poverty-stricken community. I don't know what the assessor has gotten, but I do know when I drive down the main street, it's disintegrating. People are leaving, you know, our good kids left. And I mean, I can't even find 30, 40 people I've hired this summer. I won't say any more than that, but it's an eye-opening. I just wish people could walk my life out on the farm with about 30 people out of town here as employees. You would be stunned. Sheriff may not be, but I mean, stunned. You're well connected, but it's I'm sorry, I can't do it, and I just can't do it. I'll leave it at that.
Is Vice Chair Secretary still on the phone?
Craig, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Do you have any comments, Vice Chair?
It's one of those things that, you know, in terms of, you know, I know that there's several ways we can do this. In terms of, you know, for tonight's motion, I do believe that, you know, in terms of the 90% what Ms. Saavedra had presented, because if we continue the way we're at, we're still, yes, we are public servant, but at the same time, you know, that gap is going to continue to get wider and wider and wider as time progresses. I am an attorney, but just in terms of just trying to get everybody up to speed, so to speak. So, with that, like I said, I'll wait until we're ready to make a motion.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, just 3 other words. Like I told you, I also serve in the Middle Rio Grande Conservancy. You know what I get paid? Mileage. I don't know what is 45 cents a mile, and I think it's $95 a day. And if there's 3 meetings a day, it's still 95. So, and to me, the sheriff, if I could remold the county government, I would put the sheriff more as in a different slot, you know, but these other positions, it's a service. I don't know.
I'll say something right away. I could see where you're coming from, Glenn, and I see where Joe's coming from. I wouldn't see the increase, but I know the people we have in there do work really hard at their job. Whether it be you two, you know, anybody in here, I know they work hard. And I see where you're coming from, Glenn. It is a public service. You know, you don't have to do it, but you do. But I think we're gonna fall further and further behind, and then we're gonna look up, and it's gonna be 35%, so to speak, maybe later on. I know these people do work hard at their job, and you know they do need an increase.
I could add to that. Like I would say, like I agree with what you're saying as far as public servant, as far as a commission is concerned. Okay, and I asked the question: can we give some X amount and the other? No, those are the numbers. So that's what you do. So that's why it's presented that way. But as far as whether it's the assessor, the treasurer, the other elected officials position, yeah, it's a service, but it's a 40, 60 hour a week job. And in the clerk's office, they have an election every year. You know, the conservancy's election, our election, the city election, the school board elections. So it's more than just a service.
Manager, did I hear you right that you said without this, before this, that with our obligations that we're facing, it's going to put us in red?
The fiscal year in red.
For the fiscal year in red. Yes, it would.
What does it mean?
Well, I know we can massage numbers, but I still say when interest comes, is it better to give raises or is it better to lay off? When your 7% goes to 3%, like I said, I'm not going to be here, but there's going to be some crocodile tears.
Well, to answer your question, the resolution as written gives raises this year, just not to the extent that is being requested. That the resolution as proposed is bringing everybody up to 90% of maximum of the new rates. So what we're talking about here is we're talking about just this year, those individuals that are currently standing there at the podium, those positions are going to be getting a 16% increase. They would then be getting a roughly 5% increase in 2 more years. So yes, they wouldn't be seeing all of it, but compared to where they are now, and actually, I'm just going to use the clerk as an example because their new rates are kicking in July 1. So they were already going to be getting the $6,000 raise come, January 1. What they're seeking then was an additional 20% above that. So they were in essence going to be getting 32% raises this year. And when you compare it to the history of the other employees, what we have since 2018 for the employees in Socorro County since 2018 is a 12.2% increase. So what we would be doing is if we want to just compare percentages to percentages, the proposal as written is I was actually giving the elected officials a higher salary increase this year than what we've given to the employees over since 2018 to bring them into comparison with what needs to be. Then in 2 more years, we give them another 5% to bring them to the new max. So that's where, trust me, right now, there are 2 elected official salaries completely out of whack. Probate judge, sheriff. Right now, the sheriff, even if we bring him to maximum of what the new rate is, he's still $20,000 below his department head wage that he should be getting. Every other elected official is above their department head wage. That if it was up to me, if I was the union negotiator coming to this, the sheriff and the probate judge would be getting the raises because they have to be brought up to be in comparison with their department heads. But this isn't bringing them up to their department heads. So, but with everybody else, with that huge increase that they would be getting this year, I realistically do not understand the concept of requesting even more than that when it's a huge increase. So if the elected officials really want to speak to everybody else about that even more this year than that 20% that they're being given, have at it.
Go ahead,
Chair,
Chair.
may I say something? Just to address some things that were said. I think we need to be very careful about saying that elected officials are just public servants. And, we shouldn't be doing this for the money. And we're not doing this for the money. If I was doing it for the money, I'd be working in Albuquerque, making twice what I'm making now. But this is our primary job. This is the only job we can have. So we have hit the pinnacle of what we can for our positions in this community. And we do, in a sense, have to do it to make a living. Because I've tried to get a second job and I was told it's probably not a good idea, and it was suggested against by the county attorney because it could be bad for the county, right? So I cannot have another job, which, man, I wish I could. If I can't have one, that means the other elected officials can. So we're stuck at what we get. And we don't get these bonuses. We don't get the bonuses, and that's okay. I think it should go to the people, to the other employees. We don't get all the little benefits that everybody else does. And either way, the way it's written out, it's going to benefit me either way. But I really feel for the people that it doesn't, because like the other commissioners said, it brings the steps for them longer and longer and longer. And 4 years at so much less it accumulates to a lot. And even though it may take them to a higher percentage, the other employees will be getting raises every year, hopefully, God willing, as elected officials are held in one spot. And that kind of that has to be taken into consideration as well. like I said, we're set at a pay. And Debbie didn't get, Betty Betty didn't get one for 8 years. What's to say we're gonna have the money in 2 years to put this forward, or in 4 years, or in 8 years to even get another raise? I think it's something that we have to take advantage of now when we can. And I completely understand what the county manager is saying. I do. But it is really gonna be hard for those 8 to be able to catch up to what everybody else is. And it's gonna take longer and longer. And now I can promise you that with that cap taken off, there's going to be sheriffs and clerks and treasurers that are gonna start, their pay rate is gonna go up. And this year, so when we're asking for this raise now, they're asking for the raise above what their maximum is. So now we're gonna be behind. And I like I said, it's as proposed, it's not really gonna hurt me either way, but it is gonna hurt some of the elected officials. And I have to stand with them on that.
Betty?
Chairman Martinez, commissioners. So again, Glenn, I totally understand where you're coming from. But like how Lee has said, these are our primary jobs. We're working at it to get retirement. So yes, we ran for elected officials and we're elected by the people to become our department heads to run the offices. I've said in the last 3 meetings and discussions that we've had, all of us elected officials work under the county umbrella. Like we're department heads, like Mr. Andy's office has department heads for the financial department, department heads for the maintenance, department heads for the road department. We are elected to become department heads for a department. In comparison to department heads, and I have a letter from the New Mexico County Association going over the new law that went into effect. It's asking the county commissioners to treat their elected officials like department heads and compare our pay to department heads, because this is our primary job. We've worked at it, we've gotten retirement, and the county has been wonderful with the para, with the insurances. Sorry, and it doesn't affect me. I'm not going to be an elected official. I have been talking to the commission for the past 3 meetings for elected officials to get to the point to where we're able to reach this threshold and not 4 years later, the other team catch up. But in other words, in 2 years, now all the elected officials will be at the same level. And again, thank you for your consideration.
Mr. Chairman, since most of that I think was directed towards me, and that's fine. But Betty, what was it, a year ago, something like that, this commission, we were at a point of raises, and we gave then your deputy then a raise that really wasn't supposed to happen until your seat took and now you're gonna go in that seat, until your seat took a cycle, but they did it anyway.
If I may, my chief deputy did not get a raise. She's only eligible to get a raise whenever I got my raise. She was included in the stipend for Christmas, and she was included in.
Well, forgive me for that, but, and then the other thing, there's term limits. No, it's not meant to retire. I don't think commissioners are meant to retire.
The county clerk is. I left my job of 17 years for the.
You have term limits.
To come in and work my term limits to reach the retirement.
And you go, Betty, respectfully, I disagree, and I can't get beyond the county that we serve. This is not Valencia, this is not Doñana, this is Socorro, and just look out the door. I mean, if I wanted a big salary, I would have gone to Dallas, but I love it here, but
And that's
we're
why I ran
disintegrating.
because I loved it here and because I served the community for so
Well,
many
and
years.
we all have
And again,
with
thank you,
term limits,
Commissioner,
you know.
for your consideration.
If I can speak as to financial side of things, Mr. Doug keeps speaking to the 7% that might go away. It won't go away. It'll probably come down for sure. I understand that. But I don't believe in the tooth fairy. I don't believe in Santa Claus. And I don't believe in the pot of gold. But I know that there's other revenue sources in the county, property taxes, gross receipts taxes, constantly going up, projects that are going on in Socorro County that generate revenues that I feel will support this, and that's part of why I make the decision that I made. It's not just based on it's magically going to happen. That's just how it is.
If I may, Chairman, just real quick on a couple of the points that were raised. So next year, you're not going to see a huge turnout of individuals to raise increases next year because it's going to be midterms. So there aren't going to be any increases across the state of New Mexico next year. What's happening over the course of the next 2 years are the larger counties are paying for a wage study. So in 2 years, we're going to have the wage study that comes into place, which is why the proposal in front of you is based upon this year and then in 2 more years, bringing us to that max, because then in those 2 years, we're going to have that wage study. And I guarantee you what that wage study is going to show is the sheriff is going to be our only elected official who is far below the line. We already have, just if we would implement with no action here tonight, but just upon those raises that were kicking into effect on January 1, 2025, our clerk's office and our treasurer's office are above their comparable department heads already. Assessor's office is a little bit below. This raise for the assessor's office, who she won't see for another 2 years anyway, it would bring her in alignment with her department heads. So that's kind of that information then when we're starting to talk about what was in that letter from New Mexico counties. The part of the letter that was not included in there is that information pertaining to that wage study that's going to be taking place. Because then in 2 years, the question is going to be, we know the sheriff is going to be so far under. We have that part of the statute that wasn't cleaned up as part of this November vote, which is going to be, can we only target one elected official with a higher wage increase?
You can't.
And that's going to be the huge discussion in 2 years. Because really right now, yeah, what I would have proposed is going to be increasing your salary to where your department head needs to be.
Can you give a stipend? I mean, is that?
No.
I mean.
Well, Manager, according to the packet that you sent us, let me ask you this question. The county sheriff, if we go by the resolution of 90%, on January 1st, 2025, he'll go to 71,000?
Correct. I mean, the position left.
The position, yes. And then in 2 years, 2027, he'll go to 78,000.
Under the resolution of the packet, correct?
Yeah. So in 2 years, he'll go, because in 2 years, yes, Vice Chair?
The position.
Can also be this topic we came up in, which is why, we as commissioners, we were there, to do our diligence in regards to our research, our homework and whatnot. One of the requests I made to county manager is to type this out so that we can see the numbers. And earlier you alluded to 12% since 2018. The past 4 years that I've been we kind of surpassed. I mean, the past 4 years. we have surpassed 12%. So, in terms of asking for documentation, in terms of members, I did not receive anything the past 2 weeks.
Okay,
So this is, I don't know if it's falling on deaf ears on purpose or if he just has too much. Apparently he doesn't, because he has all these figures floating around. So my request, I feel that all my requests have been falling on deaf ears. So,
well, Vice Chair, what do you want to do? You want the numbers? You want to wait? You want to table this and wait?
Let's go on it. Let's make a motion. Let's vote on it and proceed.
And we already made a motion.
And just like one of the comments said, there is alternative revenue, alternative alleys that we can refer to and whatnot.
Just if I could, Chairman, that all of the numbers presented have been provided. They're in the packet, as well as if you look at the previous 2 packets for the commission meetings, all of the numbers referenced are contained in all of the meeting packets.
Did you hear that, Vice Chair?
Yes, I did. And I go back to meetings. And I know the last meeting, he was throwing out 200-something thousand that would be the red 6 months. But I could not find anything to that. And like I said, in terms of, I don't know if I'll be stepping on some toes and whatnot, but hey, you know what? Our previous manager, who told you step up and say, hey, let's give it this much grace. And, and people are singing different tunes now. Come on, guys, let's go. Let's get with the program. Let's get, and in terms of coming up with deficits and whatnot, most definitely we will come to that. We'll come to that bridge when we come to it.
Okay. So I guess my motion is to just change the resolution from the 90% that's on there to 100% and 100% that's already on there of the new maximum rate. That's my motion.
To place everybody at the maximum rate.
The new maximum rate.
Correct. The Class B high maximum rate.
There you go.
That's before the Constitution amendment changed.
Yes. Yeah.
Which would be the
Which
one
would
on the
be,
right.
if you look
far one
on
on the
the
right.
scholars, the one on the far right, and what you would do, or what I would do, I guess, is delete the one that says effective January 1st, 2025. That column would just be deleted. And it would all be effective January 1st.
Yeah.
That would be the change if Commissioner Gonzalez's motion
And
passes.
that's my motion. That's a 30, what in percent, what is
So
that?
the motion is to change that from 90% to 100%, right?
Correct.
Is that what the motion is?
Correct.
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay, before we move on, Commissioner Duggins had a question.
It's I know what.
To answer your question, it would be roughly a 47% increase for the probate judge, a little over 34% increase for the commissioners, roughly a
Incoming commissioner.
incoming commissioners. It would be roughly a 33% increase for the clerk's office, and then you're looking at a 20% increase for the sheriff,
Incoming chair.
incoming sheriff.
Hell of a raise.
Okay, any other questions before we move on? Hearing none, the motion by Commissioner Gonzalez to change the 90% to 100% for both items of the resolution. And the second motion, correct. Second was Vice Chair Secretarial to approve it. Any further discussion before I ask for the vote? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Duggins?
No.
Okay. I too will also vote no on this. And I'll have to say this, it's not that I'm against the money, and I've said this before. In any time that we raise the salaries or we do anything, it is easy to say yes when you have the money. I would recommend, what I would like to see is what the manager, since he's crunching the numbers of what he recommended, you know, the 90%, and then in 2 years go to 100%.
Water
Pretty
under the
good.
bridge.
Yeah, but that's, I wanted to make that comment so
Yeah.
people know. Like I said,
God help you.
no,
I mean,
the commission voted
it's a done deal.
and we'll be done and thing goes good. Motion passes. Go to change that to 100% for both of them. Okay, item F, acknowledge personnel changes. Who wants to do that?
I'll go ahead. It says Luis Martinez, road director, new hire, 65,000. Anderson Pino, detention officer, transfer from sheriff's department, 16.92 an hour. Joshua Armijo, detention officer, resignation. I make the motion to approve the personnel changes as presented.
Motion by Commissioner Gonzalez to acknowledge personnel changes. Second by Commissioner Aguilar. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the personnel changes are acknowledged. Item 13, we usually do both. Item A, approval of vendor checks. B, approval of payroll checks. Who'd like to take care of that?
I see the payroll of November 26th, totaling $238,338.06. Oh, yeah, I see the vendor. And the vendors dated November 22nd, 2024, $178,523.18.
By Commissioner Gonzalez to approve both. Second by Commissioner Aguilar. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Pumpkins.
You got a sign.
Don't get it.
The vendor checks and the payroll checks are approved. We have no executive session,
They say if you can smile, you move.
so the next commission meeting is December 10th at 3 p.m. We need a motion to adjourn, gentlemen. Motion by Commissioner Aguilar,
I'll second that.
second by Commissioner Gonzalez. In favor signify by saying aye. Aye. We are adjourned.